Hi guys! It is Friday. That means it's another day with Science with Ness. I am going to be going over another Monat specific ingredient. So we've gone over rejuvenating oil, we've gone over capixyl and percataline, and today we're going to be going over Crodasorb. So I'm going to show you a picture kind of what it looks like on your hair strand, all right? So as you can see, this is the hair growing from the dermis. You can see the blood flow to it, you can see the papilla, you can see the bulb and the shaft, and you see that glowing kind of sheen around the hair strand. This is what Crodasorb is, all right? So Crodasorb is actually a UV protectant, okay? It's not gonna be a sunscreen per se, but it is a powerful ingredient that helps protect your hair from the UV rays, okay? So we think of when we go out to this, outside and we're hanging out in the sun, we always put on sunscreen, or we try to put on sunscreen, or else we're gonna get a sunburn, right? But how often do we think about protecting our hair from the sun? How often do we think of the actual problems that happen when the sun hits your hair and your hair is exposed to the sun for a long time? So we know that obviously when you go out in the sun, you can get, like I said, you can get a sunburn, you can get skin cancer, your skin is going to tend to, over time, get more wrinkly and kind of leathery. So with our hair, what happens is that the UVB rays are going to go in, and they are going to cause similar damage, okay? They are going to discolor your hair, all right? It's going to mess with the melanin in your hair just as much as it'll mess with the melanin in your skin, right? So your skin has melanin. The sun is going to bring that up to the surface, which gives you a tan or a burn. So that's going to happen. It's going to mess with the levels of melanin in your hair. So if you've ever put, let's say, a towel and left it outside in the sun for a really long time, or a kid's stuffed animal, or, even in your car, you've noticed that fabric, things that are more porous, the longer, or even curtains, the longer that the sun has been exposed on those, they start to fade and they start to lighten, okay? The sun is powerful, right? It is going to strip the color away from those things. So it's also going to do that kind of stuff to our hair. So what it's doing to our hair is multiple things, all right? It's going to go in, excuse me, and it is going to mess with the proteins and the lipids in our hair. So I have talked about the cuticles before of our hair shaft, right? So if you think of them like shingles on a roof, right? We like them to be happy and laying down and flat, right? But when they start to get pulled up and frayed, that's when we get frizzy hair, we get split ends, and then that's a lot of times where breakage happens, okay? So lipids are put in to hold the cuticle down to keep things smooth, all right? But the sun is actually going to break down those lipids, and it's going to fray our cuticles, and it's going to actually go in to the cortex, and it's going to break down the proteins as well. So it can cause breakage. It can cause your hair color to be damaged. It can cause just damage in general, split ends and different things like that. So those are things that we do not want to happen. All right, so we've added in Crodasorb. Now, what is Crodasorb? Okay, basically, Crodasorb is a high-activity quaternized UV absorber. It's a lot of big words, but also not crazy words. Okay, we break it down. UV absorber. Okay, it's going to absorb the UV rays instead of letting the hair do that. Okay. Quaternary. What does that mean? Okay, we know quattro, 4, right? So in chemistry, a quaternary compound is or has a cation consisting of a central positively charged. So in our last video, we talked about Renew shampoo. We talked a lot about charges. We talked a lot about positive and negative charges. So this has a central positively charged atom right in the center, okay? With 4 substituents coming off. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? That's why it's called quaternary. It has 4 things coming off of the center atom. Typically, the center atom is a nitrogen atom, and the best known quaternary compounds that we know are quaternary ammonium salts. We talked a lot about those in Renew Shampoo. We were like, this is a quaternary ammonium. This is a quaternary ammonium salt. It's the salt off of a product, and they're really good for detergents, okay? They're really good for clarifying and creating suds and creating, it's like a soap, okay? So now that we know, okay, that's kind of what it is. Why is it so important? You know, like, why this? Why not just put sunscreen? Like, why use Crodasorb? What makes it special? So, okay, sorry, somebody called and interrupted my video. Anyways, so what is making Crodasorb totally different, okay? So compared to many cationic polymers, it is relatively low in its molecular weight. So obviously that makes it lightweight for our hair. It's not going to weigh our hair down, which is awesome. It's also 65% active, which means it has a high level of charge density relative to other polyquaternium materials used in cosmetic applications, okay? So it's lightweight and really powerful, which is awesome. It enhances the water solubility of these polymers and also increases substantivity to hair and improves conditioning properties. So it's also really good to condition your hair. The high degree of water solubility also means that this polymer is suitable for cold mix processes. This is actually pretty cool because when you process chemicals, when you heat them up, sometimes they lose some of their properties. And this isn't even just chemicals. This is going to be your fruits and vegetables. This is going to be essential oils. Like when you heat certain things up, even natural things like your vegetables, you are going to lose some of the wonderful properties that are within its raw, right? So you're going to kind of boil those things out. So this is awesome because it's good for cold processed things. So a lot of times the natural ingredients are going to retain their integrity, they'll be cold processed. So this is an awesome ingredient to be used when things are cold processed, which is really a really good thing as far as keeping things in their full integrity, right? The great twist to this polymer is the inclusion of groups capable of absorbing UV radiation at the ends of those pendant groups, right? For those like interested in organic chemistry, they're going to be carbonyl group conjugated diene and aromatic moieties, all right? Pretty cool stuff. But these portions of the molecule transform the harmful high energy UV radiation into a lower energy form, infrared, okay? That's just emitted as heat. So we also have heat protectants in our stuff as well. So we're kind of like anything that could be damaging to our hair, we're like combating it. We've got all these little freaking ninjas that we put in our products to make sure we fight off all the potential ways that our hair can get damaged just by our environment. The free radicals, we have a ton of antioxidants. Now we have something that's going to prevent sun damage, okay? We all know that it's going to, like I said before, UVB radiation actually cleaves to disulfide bonds, which just means di means two. Sulfide was going to be two sulfur atoms linked together, disulfide, okay? Can't make an S with my hands. Sorry. Oh, I guess I could, what is it with sign language? I don't know. I'd have to ask Mason, my son. He's learning sign language. So it cleaves to those sulfide bonds, disulfide bonds in the cuticle, depletes the cysteine in the structure, and damages the protein structure of the protective cover of the hair strand. So that's going to increase the roughness, the cuticle, or the frizziness, and then it's going to open it up to make it really weak and easy to break, okay? It's going to be a great ingredient to help with detangling and making it easier to brush. So I'm going to show you another picture. This was a study that was done to kind of show the difference between hair that is not bleached, hair that's bleached, and then hair that was treated with Crodasorb. So these two different graphs here. On the left, we're looking at, let's see if I can There we go. Sorry about that. We are going to look, the blue is going to be those that are not chemically processed. They're brunettes, right? And then we're going to look at the purple, which is bleached hair. And then the little tan one down there you can see is what has been used, or what has Crodasorb has been used on. So the graph on the left is combing while it's wet, and that's the combing force at the peak load. So like at the hardest part of trying to comb through your hair, this is the percent change. You can see the different percentages of the peak load, okay? The blue and the purple are both pretty high, and it goes negative with the Crodasorb. You go to the next one and you can see that this is wet combing force total work. So from start to finish, that's the work force that was used to brush through the tangles. So you can see that the non-chemically treated hair, the blue, total force was less, right, overall, because typically there's not as much damage. The bleached hair was pretty darn close to the same. But again, the Crodasorb made it easy in the first place, and so it's easy in the second place, which I think is awesome. So it shows that it is easier to detangle because it is already clung to the hair and has conditioned it and has helped with the damage in the frizz. So as you can see, Crodasorb is just an amazing ingredient that we add in, like I said, with all the other ingredients to just combat any other damage that could be happening to our hair. We want a good structure base. We want a good, clean, healthy scalp. We want to promote, we want that anagen phase, the growth phase of hair, to be prolonged and the telogen phase to be shortened. The telogen meaning it's falling out, okay? So all of our ingredients are just combating the hair literally from under the skin all the way to the end of the shaft, and it is fabulous. So I hope that helps you understand a little bit more of the crazy word Crodasorb, and lets you understand how wonderful these products are. So especially if you are out in the sun, you need this stuff because it has really helped save my hair. Like I said, I'm out in the sun a lot, so I know that I am confidently out there protecting it as much as I'm protecting my skin with sunscreen. So anyways, I hope that helps, and I can't wait to talk to you guys next week. See ya.